Let's go to James before I put my foot even further in it. James, great to see you.
Likewise,
it's World Refugee Day, the hashtag, of course, trending on social media. Over to you.
That's right. And I suppose it is the most serious World Refugee Day ever, because actually the crisis is at its worst.
It's massive, isn't it?
Point since records have began in any case. More than 65 million people forcibly displaced in the past year alone. That is one of the, I suppose, more shocking statistics involved. This is a graphic that was shared by AFP news agency referring to some of those same statistics. 55% of refugees come from 3 nations, and Syria is the worst affected, of course, conflict being very much at the centre of all that. Vice News looking at how there are more refugees today than ever before, despite the fact that there's more awareness of it, more awareness of the issues. We remember Alan Kurdi, the 2-year-old boy who died in his attempt to get to Europe, his family's attempt to get to Europe. So all of this attention, that was 2 years ago, placed on this issue, and it hasn't resolved it at all. And despite all that, a lot of criticisms, Mark, on social media as well of the refugee issue. I suppose it's been bound up with so many other security-related concerns, terrorism and whatnot. There's been a confusion in, I suppose, people's minds. And there are tweets with using the same hashtag referring to that. Just a reminder that most of the refugees coming from the Middle East are fighting-age men. Europe has no need to take them in. On World Refugee Day, let's remember that ISIS terrorists said they would infiltrate the refugee program and attack the West, and they have. So you can see the issue is no longer seen or treated in isolation. It has become blended with a whole range of other issues, fairly or unfairly. Why don't the refugees go back home? Well, if you look at the case of Syria,
which home could you go to?
They've been devastated.
And how many have infiltrated and turned against the West? I mean, it is a small number, isn't it? It's a sweeping statement to generalise everybody.
That's right. That's right. And so this is a quote from Antonio Guterres referring to those the confusion of issues. Refugees are not terrorists. Refugees are many times the first victims of terror. So I suppose some such as Global Citizen here and various other organisations seeking to, underline certain facts using the hashtag. Today's sign of resistance is in honour of World Refugee Day. Refugees are welcome here now and always. That is, of course, Lady Liberty and, I suppose, a representation of perhaps a Syrian refugee, except we know that there has been a huge resistance to taking in refugees in the US under Donald Trump's presidency.
I was going to say, just listen to what Donald Trump was saying during his campaign and since.
That's right. Yeah. So it's a very complex issue. Just a couple more issues related to the refugee crisis that are being drawn attention to with this hashtag. The whole issue of education and employment. Refugees, generally speaking, cannot work. They're seeking refuge. They cannot enter the workforce. The Economist, this was shared today. It was actually, it's a book review that was published about 2 months ago, but it's been shared again today by Twitter users online. It's a book called Refuge, Transforming a Broken Refugee System, basically saying that some pilot programs have been put in place allowing refugees to work, for example, in Jordan, and that has had some mixed results, some positive results, because there's a lot of frustration as well amongst refugees who can't work. I suppose a risk also of exploitation if they are, drawn into the workforce. So it is a prickly issue. And this is a tweet from the International Red Cross. And it's a video. We won't have the audio, but it's an 8-year-old boy expressing his desire to be a doctor down the road so he can help other children like him. Of course, the issue is if they're not getting the education they need, and if they're falling behind year by year by year, his dreams of becoming a doctor are probably not going to be easy to realise. Now, I'll just finish with these images. They are by a Syrian artist who has reimagined the US president, Mark, amongst others, as refugees. It's in a series of paintings currently on display in Dubai. Abdallah Al-Omari is his name. He has refugee status in Belgium. And
so that is Donald Trump, and I think it's the first time I've seen his face look so human.
That's right. Indeed. I
don't mean to be nasty about it.
No, but I'm sure that was
a real
part of the intention of the painter to perhaps work on facial expressions and whatnot. That, I believe, is Vladimir Putin, even though it took me a while to actually figure out who it was meant to be, because, of course, it doesn't bear much of a resemblance. But I suppose head of state versus refugee, you're not going to look quite the same, are you? So there you go, various different leaders being depicted by Abdallah Al-Omari's paintings.
A very talented artist indeed. Let's hope that that gives him some kind of way out of the situation he's in right now and to help him rebuild his life. James, as ever, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Mark.
James Krugman, Media Watch.